Right, so I'm guessing a lot of you already know this, but the news is that Chelsea are now facing a points deduction as a result of dodgy dealings when under the ownership of Roman Abramovich. People, what's happening? And welcome back to the Joey Knight podcast. Now, if you are new around here, please do me a massive favour. At the end of the video, if you like the content, you want to see more from myself, click the subscribe button and also hit the bell so that you get a notification every time one of my videos goes live. And also, please smash the like button. Right, let's get into it. Now, listen, I am not the most business savvy. I don't know a lot about finances or accounting. I didn't even get a GCSE in maths when I was at school, so as you lot thinking I was the whole package. But I'm going to read this out. Experts believe they have uncovered a series of payment worth tens of millions of pounds over a decade routed through offshore vehicles belonging to Roman Abramovich. The transactions in question appear to have been for Chelsea's benefit, raising questions about whether they were declared in the accounts submitted to football's governing bodies. Right, so here's the gist of it I'm getting. Roman Abramovich has been accused of false accounting, and the offshore vehicles that were referenced there, I'm guessing vehicles is another word for businesses. Am I wrong? You lot tell me. The vehicles have been accused of making payments to the likes of Eden Hazard's agent, someone close to Antonio Conte, and there's payments related to the signings of Willian and Samuel Eto'o, amongst other players. So maybe as a way of getting players and managers through the doors of Stamford Bridge, Roman was slipping the agents, the managers, the family or friends of those players a couple of brown envelopes under the table. We all like a bribe from time to time. Get over it. No, but seriously, the main article leaking this news was by The Guardian. And to me, that don't sound good because, look, I'm just saying, if The Sun leaks it, you're probably not all that worried about it. That newspaper does talk a lot of shit, but if it's by The Guardian, don't know. For me, that seems like a more classy newspaper, doesn't it? It's got that sort of italic-y writing. I don't know. I'm really showing my hand here. I ain't got a fucking clue about any of this. But speaking of reliable sources, I have had a look on Twitter, and some people are saying that if all of the claims are proven to be true, we're looking at just as many breaches as Manchester City here. So as I say, not looking good, but the good news is they've still got to finish the whole Manchester City investigation. Surely we can't leapfrog them and they look into us before they've even wrapped that one up and come to a conclusion with what they're going to do with Man City if they are found guilty. And also, they have been working on the whole Everton investigation, but we're seeing the news drop today that Everton have been docked 10 points as a result of their misdealings. I don't even know really what has gone on there, but yeah, either way, they've got to deal with the Man City one first. So if you look at how long that Man City thing's been going on for, that's dragged out for over a year now. So, you know, they've got to wrap that up. And if the time frame that they've used on the Man City investigation is anything to go by, bearing in mind we still don't know whether that's going to finish, all likelihood is we ain't going to get a conclusion or a points deduction or anything like that if we do get it this season. And I'd say the likelihood is we probably don't even get it next season. So if you're sitting there now worried, thinking, oh no, we might be relegated, don't worry. No one is getting relegated. Well, maybe Everton now. Probably definitely Sheffield United and Burnley. But us lot are okay for now. Anyway, with the limited knowledge I have and the little bits of research I've done on it, if I had to put my money on it, do we receive a punishment? Yes, I do think we will receive a punishment because the reports are that there's proof that third-party companies have made payments that benefited Chelsea over a decade or so period in question. And if that's the case, I can't see us getting away with it, let's be honest. So I don't know, what would the punishment be? Well, we're hearing that it could be a points deduction, but then that's where the stories sort of start to vary, or the possible outcomes start to vary, I should say, because I've heard some journalists saying that it could be as little as 3 points. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, mate, 3 points is pathetic. We've dropped 3 points 4 times already this season. I'd rather it was more, if anything. No, I'm joking. I really wouldn't. I just hope we don't get any punishment. But the concerning thing for me is this. Football finance expert Kieran Maguire, no relation of Harry, he wrote the book The Price of Football, which is quite a well-known book. I'm paraphrasing here, but he has basically said that if there is proof that the club have broken these rules, Chelsea are likely to face a large points deduction rather than a fine, as this would set a precedent and scare others off of doing similar. Again, doesn't really sound good, does it? Now, in Premier League history, there's only ever before this week been two sides that have received points deductions. The first was Middlesbrough, who were deducted 3 points in 1987, and Portsmouth, who were deducted 9 points in 2010. Both sides were then relegated. Now, this week, the news has broke, even today, I should say, that Everton have been deducted 10 points. That is a bit of a fucker for us, to be honest, because I was sort of hoping this case would really drag on for ages, and obviously they'd have to conclude the Everton points deduction case, which I know Everton are looking to appeal, and that they would obviously have to wrap up all the ongoings that has happened with the Man City case with 110 breaches or whatever that was. But now obviously they've wrapped up that Everton case. Man City probably get away with it. You know, they've already got VAR on their side and everything else, and we will probably get the book thrown at us. So that's what happens when you're a Chelsea fan, unfortunately. However, if you look at Italy, right, we've seen plenty of top sides docked hefty amount of points in Italian football. As I say, the most we've ever seen now is Everton's 10-point deduction. That is going to be appealed. It could be brought down. But in Italy, we've seen loads of them docked a lot of points, you know. So I suppose we're going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to stick a pin in it and see how this one plays out. But what I do want to discuss is whether or not this points deduction, if we get it, is fair, and whether or not and then in turn you lot think that this tarnishes Roman Abramovich's legacy at Chelsea. So let's start with fairness. Should Chelsea Football Club be deducted points over something that our former owner, Roman Abramovich, did from 5 to 18 years ago? And I don't think you need to guess my answer to this one. No, we shouldn't, and it's not fucking fair. If you want to punish someone, punish Roman. The club was Abramovich's to do whatever he pleased with it. So how can we now, in our current state, be held responsible for something that he did? If I decide to get drunk and get behind the wheel of my car and I drive it into town and smash into a police car, right? And then I flee the scene and do a runner, what do the police do? Do they go and arrest the car, you know, put a couple of handcuffs on it, drive it down to the station for a night in the cells and then take the handbrake off and wheel it into court the next day? No. They don't. They go looking for me because I was in control of the car. I was responsible. The car may not have wanted me to drive it drunk. The car may have thought that I was risking people's safety. But ultimately, I held the keys and therefore I made the rules. It's a bit of a weird analogy, I know. I don't drink drive. I prefer to get in Ubers and just talk a load of shit to them, really. But you get where I'm going with this. And that is that we, Chelsea, are the car and not the driver. All of the staff that worked under Roman Abramovich are pretty much now gone. Roman's gone. And to cap it all off, we're in this situation because we reported ourselves. And obviously, Bowley's ownership have noticed a bit of suspicious activity, let's say, within the books of the club. And they have come forward and reported this because it was before their tenureship. They were not responsible for it. And yes, there's a level of this that could go, well, you're getting in there before you get caught because then you look like you're cooperating and you know you're innocent and your hands are completely clean. But what I would say is there's always the chance that if we hadn't reported ourselves, no one would have even noticed and then we would have gotten away with it anyway. So I think you've got to give us the benefit of the doubt there that we have found the sort of the ongoings that look suspicious and we have reported them ourselves. Listen, of course I'm going to have blue tinted glasses on here and I'm obviously going to back my club Chelsea, but the way I look at it is this: Roman Abramovich is not at the club, and when he left there should be a clean slate. You look at the situations with Everton and the situation with Manchester City, and both of those situations are dealings that took place under their current ownership. Ours did not, and for that reason it's not really relevant in my opinion. And if you're desperate, absolutely desperate on giving us some sort of punishment, we've already fucking had it. Because when the UK government sanctioned Roman Abramovich and forced our club's most successful ever owner out of the club, that was our punishment. To punish us now on top of things that Roman may or may not have done is just rubbing insult into injury. Now let's finish up on whether or not this tarnishes Roman Abramovich's legacy at Chelsea Football Club. And I can only give my personal perspective on this. You lot might disagree, but the way I look at it, and I have got a very unique way of looking at things sometimes with this sort of stuff, but it's very hard to give an answer because there's not enough context available to us right now. If we receive a 10-point deduction like Everton did, and it happens maybe next season or the season after, when I believe we'll be up there competing at the top end of the Premier League again, and this side will have come of age a little bit, then no, I don't think it tarnishes his legacy all that much, you know. If it was a 30 points deduction, then yeah, that could change things, obviously, and then I could feel differently about it. But let's say, for example, it was a 10-point deduction. If someone had said to me 20 years ago, this man is going to come into the club and he's going to pump us full of money and give us the best years we've ever had supporting the club, he is going to win a countless amount of trophies, and in the meantime, he's going to cook the books a little bit. And a couple of decades later and tens of trophies later, you'll receive a 10-point deduction. I took it. Do you know what I mean? And that's just me being honest. If it's 30 points, then yeah, of course, different story. But can I just say, and this is only me alleging this, don't shoot the messenger, but every fucking club's and every single club have tapped up players, paid agents, slipped brown envelopes under the table, and the lucky ones are just the ones that have not been cool. What I do know is Roman Abramovich loves Chelsea Football Club. The man came in and helped us transform Chelsea Football Club and helped us have the history that we are now very proud to boast of. He helped us win a ridiculous amount of silverware over the best part of 2 decades. He loved the players, he loved the staff, and he loved the fans. And when he was forced by the UK government to sell Chelsea Football Club, he wrote off the £1.5 billion debt that Chelsea had to him. And not only that, he put a clause in the sale that would prevent the new owners from being able to pay dividends, sell shares, or take any management fees out of the club for at least a decade. Now, those are not the actions of a man who doesn't care about Chelsea Football Club and who doesn't care about the fans. And I, for one, respect Roman Abramovich for that, and I'm not afraid to say it. There's problems in the world that run a whole lot deeper than football, and I am definitely not the best educated to speak on those problems. But in my life, I can only take situations and people as I find them. And for those reasons, no, this does not tarnish or ruin Roman Abramovich's legacy for me. If you think it does, sweet, you're entitled to your opinion, as I am mine. But to use a phrase my good friend Josh Aveste says very often, I'm very bullish on this one. So I do want to know your lot's opinions. Do you think we will get a points deduction? If we do, when do you think we'll get it? There will be a lot of you that watch my videos that are a lot more educated than I am. You know, look, like, I'm speaking about something very, very businessy and technical here, and I didn't even get like GCSEs and stuff at school, really. I was the fit kid in my class, so I'm probably not the best person to speak on this situation, but I can definitely speak from an emotional standpoint on, you know, Roman Abramovich, the memories we had under him, and how I obviously think that, you know, this impacts his legacy at Chelsea Football Club. But I'm very much excited, is excited the word? Eager, I should say, to hear your lot's opinions on it. What do you think of this whole situation? Do you think we're getting the points deduction, and does it tarnish Roman Abramovich's legacy? Or do you think that if this does happen, we're going to be made an example out of? One thing I do know is if we get a points deduction before the Man City case is wrapped up, that just says it all. People, thank you for sticking around to the end of another video. If you are not already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on this video. You've been doing it recently and it's been helping me out a lot, so I really, really appreciate that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I will see you all in the next one.